Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Aging and Spirituality podcast. And we hope that we are going to help you tap into some potential that you may or may not know is there, but you really want to open up to. I'm Chris Jensen,
I'm Kathy Lee Taylor.
and we're so happy that you're here with us today. So today I'm going to talk about something that may surprise you, but I'm going to talk about how compassion changes our lives and brings happiness.
Mhm.
Everyone at every age is looking for happiness, but especially as we get older, we're looking for the kind of happiness that brings a feeling of fulfillment, But all too often we seek happiness in ways that are opposite of what is actually going to bring it. So stay tuned if you want to hear what the Buddhists, the yogis, and other spiritual greats tell us
Ooh,
about how we can find true happiness.
yeah.
So I want to start with a quote from the Dalai Lama. And this says it right here. He says, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. So he's really making a strong point about compassion bringing happiness. And I loved his end point. Without it, humanity cannot survive. We got to have it. So, what does compassion do? It helps us connect with others, mend relationships, move forward while fostering emotional intelligence and well being. It takes empathy a step farther because you can feel for someone, that's empathy, you can feel their pain. But when you have compassion, you not only feel their pain, you want them to be free from suffering, and you have a desire to help them in some way. And we often begin with that empathy, that feeling of connection, but we really need to take an action for it to move into compassion. And that action can be as simple as a loving thought. I mean, it doesn't have to be a grandiose thing. It can be, but it's just what is ever needed at the moment. The more we care for the happiness of others, guess what? The greater our own well-being. Cultivating a close, warm-hearted feeling for others automatically puts the mind at ease. This helps remove whatever fears or insecurities we have, and it gives us the strength to cope with obstacles. So as long as we live in the world, we're going to encounter problems. It's just life, And if at those times when we have problems, if we lose hope, we become discouraged, we diminish our ability to face these difficulties. If, on the other hand, now here's something, this is a big key. We remember that it is not just ourselves, but everyone who has to undergo suffering in this way. This puts a more realistic perspective, and it increases our capacity to overcome troubles. With this attitude, each new obstacle can be seen as yet another valuable opportunity to open that door to compassion.
Yeah.
So I want to start out with telling you some very simple ways we can develop compassion for others. We can speak with kindness. Very often people are sending out little torpedoes with their words. I had a friend who started yoga. I brought her to yoga not too long after I started, and uh, she was there for a while. And I remember one person at the yoga center said to me that she does so much killing, and I didn't know what she meant. But later on, I did, because she was always sending out these sarcastic barbs, and they're very violent. So when you speak with kindness, you speak with truth, but with kindness, it's compassion. Apologize for making a mistake. You'll blow people's minds, but it is an act of compassion. Listen carefully to someone who's speaking without judgment. You're letting them know that you care about them and you want to empathize with them. Encourage other people. Offer to help someone with a task. It can be a small task or a big task. Be happy with someone else's success. Now, that's one that sounds obvious, but it's not. Very often, if somebody's successful and we're jealous of them,
Oh,
So you want to open your heart and be happy for them.
Mhm.
Accept people for who they are. Don't try and make them think they have to be something different, or they need to meet your standards or someone else's standards. And forgive people for making mistakes. Everybody, including you and I, make mistakes. Forgive. Forgive. Towards the end, we'll do a little short practice for compassion, but I want to mention before we get to that, self-compassion, because this is also very important. If we don't have much self-compassion, we're not going to have a lot of compassion for others. Self-compassion involves treating yourself the way you would treat a friend who's having a hard time. I mean, even if your friend blew it, and they're feeling inadequate or they're just facing a tough challenge, you wouldn't tell them, you suck, you can't do this. You try to help them see what was going on, how they could get back up on their feet from it, what they could do differently. You try to support them. I often think of this when I stub my toe. If you stub your toe and your self-talk is like, oh, you jerk, you idiot. Would you ever say that to a friend if they stubbed their toe? No, you wouldn't do that. So that's very important. When you're more self-compassionate, you have greater happiness too. Uh, Life satisfaction, motivation, better relationships, better physical health, less anxiety, depression, and more resilience to cope with stressful events. When we're mindful of our struggles and respond to ourselves with compassion and kindness in times of difficulty, things start to change, and we can learn to embrace our lives despite our inner imperfections. And when we do this, we start to see this in others. We start to treat others like that. If we can be compassionate to ourselves, then it opens the door to being more compassionate to others. And there's a kind of a fun way to start practicing self-compassion, and that's writing a letter to yourself. And I'm going to give you a couple of different formats if you want to try this. One is to think of an imaginary friend who's wise, loving, compassionate, and write a letter to yourself from the perspective of your friend. So this is the friend writing the letter to you. The other format is to write a letter as if you were talking to a dearly beloved friend who's struggling with the same concerns as you. These are just nice ways to do this. And the third one is write a letter from the compassionate part of yourself to the part of yourself that is struggling. I kind of like number two. That's my favorite.
I'm writing them all down.
Yeah,
I like it.
find one that kind of resonates for you and do it, And after you write the letter, put it down for a while, then read it later, letting the words kind of comfort you when you need it. Keep it around.
There you go.
And there's a couple of things you can do to break a negative loop. If you're in a negative loop, in addition to the letters, you could say, may I be kind to myself in this moment. Or may I accept this moment exactly as it is.
Say that again. That one.
May I accept this moment exactly as it is. And then
Oh, okay.
William James had one. He said, may I accept myself exactly as I am in this moment.
I
And
like.
Carl Rogers, the humanist psychologist, he said, the curious paradox is that when I accept myself exactly as I am, then I can change.
Yeah.
And now this is something yogis say all the time. One of the important steps on the yoga path is contentment. And contentment is the key to peace of mind and compassion. And what it means is that you accept yourself where you are and grow from there. That kind of contentment opens the door really wide. So just accepting yourself where you are and letting yourself grow from there. But self-compassion is an important part of this whole process. So I did want to just conclude with a simple practice that we do in yoga for opening the heart to compassion, because I think it works, and I think people of all paths do this. It's not just a yoga thing. So what we're going to do is first we're going to think of someone, and this could be yourself, who has a particular problem. And we send love and kindness to that person, it could be yourself, and prayers, love, kindness, prayers. Then we think of all of humanity that has this problem. So maybe, you know someone who's hungry, who needs food. And so we send love and kindness and we pray for them to have an abundance of food. Then we think of all of humanity who has this problem, all the people who don't have enough food. And then we send love and kindness and prayer to them. And then we release it. We say, may they all have an abundance of food. And we let it go. We let it move out. The thing is, it's very important. People say, why don't I just go to all of humanity? Because that includes that one person. It doesn't work. It's too abstract. You have to start with a particular. You have to start with the particular that hones in the focus and the energy. So let's try it just for a couple minutes now. Let's just try one. So think of, it could be you, think of someone who has a particular problem. Now we're going to send love, kindness, and prayers to this person. If you want to verbally do a prayer, let it be the solution to the problem. Like our friend who didn't have enough food, we said an abundance of food. And just kind of inhale, exhale, and let it go. Now think of all of humanity that has the same problem. Feel the love in your heart for them, the kindness. And now a prayer. Remember, your prayer is the solution, not the problem. And then just let it go. Just release it. And what this does, as you do this, you just become naturally more compassionate. You're helping others as you do it and helping yourself, but you become more compassionate.
You
As I
way so the spirit can move through. Like it's not, because what I was feeling as I was experiencing it was I don't necessarily have the answers when I was praying for what it is, but it was just, like, for example, in my situation, I want to find a new home. And what it turned into was finding the people you belong with.
Yeah.
So what Chris is saying is you're opening that channel to find the answer to also to what could actually help.
Right.
Because I'm thinking about myself, not the.
You're opening the channel for spirit to move.
Move through.
Move through it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's really
That's an important point. And I think, try this. It's, it's not a hard thing to do, and it will make a big difference.
Yeah, it already feels different to me. Yeah.
So I wanted to just end with the Dalai Lama's quote that I started with. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive.
Oh,
Let's help humanity survive.
we need that now. Amen, sister.
So let us know, if you work with us, let us know if it works for you or any questions you have. So
We'd love to
thanks
hear.
for joining us, folks. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.